All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, September 15th City Council meeting. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Bainey. Here. Alderman Webb.
Here.
Alderman Doherty.
Here.
Alderwoman Bassey. Here. Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman Cook.
Here.
Alderwoman Miller. Here.
Thank you. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'm going to open up for public comment. Barb Roth. Can you please hit the middle button? Oh, sorry, right at the mic, right at the microphone.
You can pull that down.
And is this something that's not on the agenda this evening, or is this something regarding something that's on the agenda? Or is it just a public
I
comment?
don't think it's on the agenda.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, well, good afternoon, or is it evening? Okay, well, good evening. I'm a little bit nervous.
Don't be nervous.
Well, I used to teach first grade and I wasn't nervous in front of little kids, but you grown-ups kind of scare me. Anyways, my name is Barb Roth and I'm a lifetime resident of McHenry, Illinois. And I grew up in this city. I love this city. I love all of you. I know a lot of you because just you've been here a long time. And I just want to tell you that there's a Travis Mills Foundation that I met Jim Schubert, and he's chairman of their board. And he's the most gracious human being you could meet. He's a lovely man. And he would love to come and present to all of you and to all of us, our city. And I'm just wondering if he's reached out at all to you. And Mayor, has he invited you to see what he has in Maine? Do you know?
Normally we don't respond, but I will.
Okay.
Okay. I have left him a message. He got back to me. This was right after the whole situation of him wanting to present something at City Council. So after I talked to him, he said he'd get back to me. He was traveling for a few weeks, and I've not heard from him after that.
Yes.
So I'll wait for him.
Okay.
But I plan to go down by him to get the gist of what he wants to propose.
Wonderful.
So just so you know, it's I haven't talked to him.
Okay, that would be wonderful.
I will
And-
reach out again this week.
Wonderful. So then my question was like, when can he come? When can he tell all of us about everything? So,
No, and then we'll talk. And I mean, he can present at any point. We just want to know what he's presenting
I
ahead
see.
of time.
yes,
And then
I
before it was not presented that way. It was, we had no idea what he had no idea who he was dealing with. And
Yes.
he thought he was talking to more people involved in the city, and he wasn't.
see. Yes.
So that's the
yes.
problem. So
Well-
we'll get to it.
Okay,
We'll get to
well,
it, I promise.
thank you very much.
No problem.
Okay,
Thank you.
God bless. Do I turn this off?
No, you can keep it on.
Oh.
Thank you. All right. Bertie? Is it Bertie Silver? Bridie. Oh,
I've
sorry.
been called a lot more than
I
that.
I should know that.
You should know.
I do. Yeah.
It's kind of a moot point now. she's just pretty much explained everything. But I realized that things were upside down and they weren't presented the right way. I just want to say that I've written all this and I've been backwards and forwards all day, so I'm just going to read it. First of all, my sons and my husband were all in the military. My husband, 24 years, my son, 24 years. He is still a colonel, active duty in Alaska, and my youngest son did 10 years. So after all of that time, that's a total of 58 years that my family has given to the vets, to the military, to whatever. And my son in Alaska said, Mom, go for it because we really need the help when they come back. by the power of God, they came back. None of them were injured, but they did have PTSD. The Travis Mills Foundation, it's a multi-million-dollar business. It's not a hokey-pokey little place that they don't do anything. It's a retreat, and they've had such success in Maine that they want to branch out a little bit. So that way, that's why we were talking with them. There'd be lots of jobs offered. It'd be good for the economy. Let me see. What they do is they bring in 2 families a week, 2 to 3 families a week with the husband, wife, and children. And then from there, they give them counseling if they need it. For the PTSD, they help them get right back on track. They were very impressed when they came to McHenry. In fact, the words that Jim used was, wow, this is beautiful. It's like stepping back into Mayberry. So they were really, really impressed with it. We have so many vets in McHenry. When the flight came in at the high school, it was packed with people, all veterans. The oldest veteran that was there was 104. And he was there. There was a lot more there, but the oldest, he'd been in so many of the wars, and he was right there. And I think it would be very good. One of the neighbors of mine said, well, we're not going to do this because the vets, they'll take away from our vets. No, they won't. They will offer the same to any vet. It doesn't matter who they are. Let me see. And really, I'm kind of gone ahead of myself. So I just would like to say, please consider it. And definitely you have to meet him to know what it's all about.
Absolutely.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jerry Condon, is this regarding the item that was on the agenda later on?
I have 2 other parks. I
Go
wanna
ahead.
talk about
Sure.
as well,
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
So that's why I just put parks.
Floor is yours.
Jerry Condon, do you need my address? You got it.
Great.
4823 Loyola Drive. Okay, so interestingly enough, one issue came about as I was coming here tonight to talk about Cold Springs Park, but JC's, is that right? Yeah, JC Park. I go past on my way here to city council meetings, and it has become, it used to be really pretty passive, it's a neighborhood park. It's a very large park, but neighborhood park. But because of the need for fields, it's used for organized softball, soccer, other organized sports events. And the parking along Cross Trail, I had a hard time even turning right onto Cross Trail for line of sight issues. And I know it's an expense, but I just want to plant the seed for possible investigation, maybe for a future year, for some actual parking to get some of those cars off the street, because they're heading into, it's the length of the park, but they're also going into the subdivision. And there really is a need for some actual parking spaces, not just along the road. So that's just that's one issue I just wanted to really share and ask you to consider. The other thing, the other park I wanted to mention was Peterson Park. And it was interesting, the comment about our towns like Mayberry, thank you. McHenry has changed so much over the years and we've grown, but really there is still that hometown feel. But what an amazing experience the last 3 days have been at Peterson Park. And what a blessing. I don't know that there's a full recognition of how many people were brought in, not only from McHenry and not only from Illinois, but out of state. People coming to our little hometown for these wonderful concerts. And I have to thank Wayne and Amber for spearheading this, and with the funds going to wonderful things that are enriching McHenry it is such a blessing that we have these wonderful parks, and especially Peterson Park. And I can't thank you enough for giving us, this little hometown, the opportunity to see these amazing artists. So with that, I will sit down until we come up with the third park.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate that. Gretchen Gilmore? Please state your name and address for public record.
Okay. Hi, I'm Gretchen Gilmore. I live at 810 North Green Street, just down the road. Good evening, members of the council. McHenry has invested so much into making our Riverwalk and community spaces beautiful, yet that beauty is undermined by something as simple as single-use plastic bags. These bags end up in the river, the Fox River, right along the McHenry Riverwalk and throughout the chain of lakes, polluting the very places that make our city special. My name is Gretchen, and I was born and raised right here in McHenry. I've seen McHenry grow and change, and this is an area where we have yet to act. That's why I'm here tonight, to urge you to take the strongest and most effective step forward, which is banning single-use plastic bags in McHenry. Personally, one of my New Year's resolutions was to stop using single-use plastic bags. At first, it required a little bit of adjustment, remembering to bring reusable bags to the store, keeping them in my car. But after a short time, it became completely normal. Now I never leave for the grocery store without them. This shows that change is simple, practical, and sustainable. If I can do it, so can the other citizens of McHenry. Plastic bags are used for minutes, but last for years. They litter our streets, get stuck in our bushes, clog our waterways, harm wildlife, break down into microplastics that end up in our food and water. Here in McHenry, that pollution is not abstract. It's in the Fox River, at Knox Park, and even in your backyard, all the places where families gather and our community takes pride. The solution is clear, simple, and proven. Communities around us, Evanston, Northbrook, Oak Park, Edwardsville, and Woodstock, have already implemented bans or taxes, and they work. People quickly adjust to using reusable bags, businesses adapt, and the results are cleaner streets, healthier waterways, and stronger communities. McHenry doesn't have to wait for the state of Illinois or the federal government to act. We don't have to wait for a statewide or national ban. We can make a change right here, right now, in our own community. Council members, you are elected to make decisions that shape the future of this city. This is an opportunity to make real and lasting change. By banning single-use plastic bags, McHenry can protect our community and show leadership by joining the growing list of cities that are stepping up and doing the right thing. I urge you to begin the process of drafting and adopting a ban. This is the right step for our city, and it's a step we can take today. Thank you for your time and commitment to McHenry.
Thank you, Gretchen. Next is Roger Friend. That item is on the agenda this evening, so we'll wait until that comes up, if that's okay. All right. Is there anyone else for public comment? Okay, moving on. Consent agenda items 5A through 5E. Is there any council members wanting to pull anything for separate consideration? Okay. Looking for a motion to approve 5A through 5E. Alderman Miller?
I'll make the motion to approve consent agenda 5A through 5E as presented, please.
Thank you. Second? Alderman Bainey?
I'll second that motion as presented.
Thank you. Discussion on these items?
Just the
Alderman
fact that there was a change in the council meeting minutes as far as a vote that showed that I voted yes when I voted no. And I already talked to the appropriate people, and it's going to be changed, just so everybody's aware of it, though.
Thank you.
Also, there were some changes on Alderwoman Bassey's, but we took care of that earlier too.
Any other comments? Any questions? All right. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Miller? Yes. Alderwoman Bainey?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderman Doherty?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderman Davis?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Next item on the agenda is 6A, Buddy's Pizza's liquor license. A motion to approve a Class A liquor license to Wade's Wave Incorporated DBA Buddy's Pizza, located at 1138 North Green Street, subject to the successful completion of the background check, which has been, Chief, has been completed? Yeah.
It's been started.
Okay, not completed. All right. So I'm looking for a motion to approve as presented. Alderman Doherty.
So I'll make a motion to approve item 6A, Buddy's Pizza and Liquor License pending the successful completion of the background check.
Thank you. Second, Alderman Glad.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Alderman Miller?
So I just have a question. Are the
They are.
new people here?
Yes.
Perfect. Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Can
Nice
you
to meet
turn
you.
the mic on if you don't mind, sir? The middle one.
There
Thank
go.
you.
Perfect. Can you hear me now?
We can.
My name is
we can-
Ishmael
we can Hear
Ghaziani.
you now.
Uh,
Thank you. So welcome to Kenry.
Yes, thank you.
Obviously, I think part of the process is to have a manager that lives within 10 miles. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you live in town?
I do not. I live in Wilmette, but McHenry is quite beautiful, so I might consider moving here. So,
Awesome. So So
but we
you're-
will have a manager that lives within the 10 miles to be in compliance. So,
is that somebody that's already there? or-
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
We are currently going through the process. So the current staff has not been notified about the sale. Unfortunately, the previous owner just purchased the business about 3-4 months ago. And there's a family member that's sick, so he can no longer continue the business. And so he has to sell. And so once our team goes in there, we'll identify, we don't plan to change anything, including the staff. And so one will be promoted up to be the manager that will live within the compliance rules of the liquor license law.
Okay. And do you own other restaurants?
Yes, we own other restaurants in Arlington Heights, Schaumburg, and the city of Chicago.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? All right. Thanks, sir.
All right, thank you.
All right. Any other questions in general? All right. Public comment regarding this item?
Mike had some-
Alderman Cook?
With this passing of the background check, is this for the owners itself, or is it for the manager that's gonna be there? Or,
It's for,
The issuance of a liquor license.
yeah, it's for the owner.
okay,
If I can add, it's
Go
also
ahead.
for the manager
Man-
that's going to be on the liquor license.
it's what? I'm sorry, chief.
It'll be for the owners of the business along with the licensed manager on
Thank you.
file.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any public comment? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Doherty,
Yes.
sorry about my voice. Alderman Glad,
Yes.
Alderwoman Bainey,
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey,
Yes.
Alderman Davis,
Yes.
Alderman Cook,
Yes,
Alderwoman Miller.
Yes.
And council. Next item on the agenda is 6B, Buddy's Pizza Video Gaming. I'm looking for a motion pending the issuance of a Class A liquor license, a motion to approve a video gaming license to Wade's Wave Incorporated, DBA Buddy's Pizza, located at 1138 North Green Street, subject to the completion of a video gaming development agreement. Looking for a motion to approve. Alderman Doherty?
I'll make a motion for item 6B, the Buddy's Pizza Video Gaming, as presented.
Thank you. Second? Alderman Davis?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion by city council? Alderman Glad, go ahead.
Yeah, this gives him a limit of how many games or how many machines? 6, right?
6 is the
Okay.
max. Is that it? Any other questions, comments? Any public comment regarding this item? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Doherty,
Yes.
Alderman Davis,
Yes.
Alderwoman Bainey,
Yes.
Alderman Glad,
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey,
Yes.
Alderman Cook,
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller,
Yes.
And council, next item on the agenda, 6C, is for Foxhole Pizza temporary use permit. Looking for a motion to approve a temporary use permit for Foxhole Pizza at 3308 West Elm Street on October 25th, 2025. The owners of Foxhole Pizza is here if you have any questions. I am looking for a motion to approve as presented. Alderman Miller?
I'll make a motion to approve a temporary use permit for Foxhole Pizza at 3308 West Elm Street on October 25th, 2025.
Thank you. Second? Alderman Doherty?
I'll make a second to the motion, item 6C as presented.
Thank you. Discussion by city council? Alderman Glenn?
Yeah, the only question I've got is the residents over there will be parking somewhere else. How many residents, how many vehicles are going to have to park somewhere else? And what kind of a plan do we have on it?
Can one of you come up to the podium and answer that if you don't mind? Can you hit that center button?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, just the one side will have to park somewhere else. There's 2 manager spots for Foxhole that are parked over there, so they don't count because we'll park somewhere else. The other cars, I think there's about 10 spots that will be parking on the other parking lot, or they'll be finding somewhere else to park.
Okay, and these residents are aware of it and everything else, right?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
we're compensating them for their inconvenience.
All right, thank you.
Any other comments, questions by council? Any public comment regarding this item? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Doherty,
Yes.
Alderwoman Bainey,
Yes.
Alderman Glad,
Yes,
Alderwoman Bassey,
Yes.
Alderman Davis,
Yes.
Alderman Cook,
Yes.
Thank you, council. You all are more than welcome to go. You don't have to stay for this meeting. So, yeah, you're more, congratulations. All right, we'll talk soon. Thank you. Bye, take care. Thank you. Next item on the, jeez, I'm exhausted. Next item on the agenda is 6D, well number 11 pump replacement and aquifer rehabilitation. A motion to waive a completion bidding requirements to accept a proposal from Water Well Solutions in the amount of $56,620, as well as authorize an additional 10% contingency of $5,662 for the total of $62,282 for the well 11 pump replacement and aquifer rehabilitation. I am looking for a motion to approve as presented. Alderman Cook.
I approve
Thank you.
as presented.
Thank you. Second? Alderman Bainey.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Discussion by city council? Alderman Glenn?
yeah, just, where does that fit in as far as, what we had budgeted for that? As far as the dollar amount, are we right there or over, under?
So this is coming out
Hopefully
of,
under.
this is coming out of the capital development fees. This is part of the Water Plant 5 design project. So originally the plan was to do this down the road as part of construction, but it was recommended by our consultant that we rehab the well now so that we can ensure that the well capacities meet the design specifications for the treatment plant. So there wasn't a specific budget item in place this fiscal year for this fund. It's just coming out of that capital development fund. It would have been drawn from there when we move forward with the actual construction. But we're moving it up to verify that the well is still producing the same capacity as when it was installed 25 years ago, and that there's not, additional concerns that need to be addressed through the design and construction process.
I appreciate the encyclopedia answer. I just wanted to know if it was in the budget or not. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Any public comment regarding this item? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Cook,
Yes.
Alderwoman Bainey,
Yes.
Alderman Glad,
Yes,
Alderman Doherty,
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey,
Yes.
Alderman Davis,
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is 6E, Cold Springs Park. Looking for a motion to approve the proposed development plan of Cold Springs Park and to authorize the mayor's execution of a resolution to submit the project of an OSLAD grant in the 2025 grant cycle on or before September 30th, 2025. Looking for a motion to approve. Alderman Miller.
I'll make the motion to approve the proposed development plan of Cold Springs Park as presented.
Thank you. Second? Alderman Bainey.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any discussion by city council? Alderman Bassey.
Director Hobson, I have just a few quick questions for you. The combined cost for the playground and fitness area is $311,686. The Kiwanis Tot Lot Playground is 0.4 miles or a 9-minute walk from the Ponca Street entrance. The J.C.'s Park Playground is 0.5 miles or a 10-minute walk from the DePaul Street entrance. These neighborhoods already have a playground in close proximity. Why is there a playground included in the Cold Springs proposal? Is this because the state requires 5 distinct elements to be included and eligible for the grant?
Well, there's 2 reasons. The first being, obviously, it does help our scoring on our OSLAD application if we can just clearly display those 5 distinct elements. But one of the big things about this particular playground is it's a nature-based playground. And so while the 2 that you just referenced are more of the modular, pre-manufactured type plastic slides and those type of playgrounds. In keeping with the theme and the nature of this park, we really centered in on more of a nature type playground. We have some of those type of elements over here at Knox Park on a very limited basis on the trail system that we put in last year. But this takes that to just a nicer level, more professional. But those are the reasons.
Okay, second question. The budget includes a $30,000 for a 1-year outsourced of maintenance. Is the expectation that the city pays $30,000 every year to outsource maintenance of this park? And if not, what are the city's plan to maintain the park?
No, we would not. This would not be an ongoing $30,000 cost for us to continue to maintain this. The park that we are installing is along the lines. It remains passive. The things that we want to continue to move forward with are as we identify invasive species. That's a big part of that ongoing $30,000 to make sure that we can spread that out and continue to nurture the native species that are there and remove any of the invasive species. And so we feel like this plan that we put together is one that's more than manageable for us. Will actually help us to manage it with the limestone trails and the blacktop path. Will be a little bit less, be a better surface and a little bit less maintenance for us than we are having right now.
Per the packet, one of the top priorities for residents is additional walking and multi-use trails, as well as natural area restoration. This proposal only increases parking trails from 0.12 miles from 0.66 miles to 0.78 miles. Only 1.5 acres of the 46-acre park will be a habitat restoration area. 48 mature trees are marked to be removed and only 7 shade trees will be added. Why is it such a small percentage of the budget for restoration?
For restoration of the
park as a whole.
Okay, well, there's a lot of the park we're not going to touch and intentionally not going to touch that because of the open house meeting that we had. There's areas that number one are wetlands. So we're not going to touch the wetlands at all. We're not intruding on them. I think that was a big part of it. Number one, to manage the site, to stay away from homes as best we can. And so you didn't see like what we're trying to manage is take those invasive species out. So those buckthorn type trees, a lot of those. So those type of removal ones that you see. But a lot of the park we're not going to touch. And so, while you reference that there's not a significant addition of linear feet of that pathway, that also was some of the feedback that we got. We didn't want to press into the south part of that park. There was a version that we had presented that did extend those paths further into that park, and it was not something that was received extremely well by our residents. And so what you see here is we feel like listening to the residents' voices and what they're asking for, and that's what we try to display.
Okay. I spoke to a member of the Environmental Defenders about the planned addition of ornamental trees and ornamental grass. Ornamental grass is extremely invasive and would be harmful to the park's ecosystem. Why weren't environmental experts consulted during the planning process?
I think one of the most important things to talk about right at this moment is this is not a final plan. This is when we get to that point when you're identifying what is actually going in, this is a schematic design that you're being presented. This is a design that's a guideline for what we look to put into this grant and to take forward with the state. When we get to that point, when we actually do the final design, when we're ready to go out to bid and we engage a landscape designer, a park designer, those fees are in there as well. Those final decisions will be made, and absolutely those type of decisions will be consulted and making sure that we do no harm. I think that's the biggest thing, is that we're trying to improve a park that's a gem in the middle of our community, ties neighborhoods together, and becomes a usable park, and one that is maybe not as usable right now.
Thank you. Okay. I think this proposal has too much unnecessary spending, like a playground and fitness equipment, and not enough priority to walking trails and habitat restoration. Even with the matching funds of $600,000, it is too much for too little improvements. If we have $1.3 million from the developers donation fund to spend on the parks, we have the money to fund trails and habitat restoration without adding unnecessary elements like the playground and fitness equipment to qualify for this grant. I will be voting no, and I would like instead to see the city work with environmental groups on a proposal that prioritizes improving and restoring Cold Springs Park in a cost-effective way that maintains a fully natural environment. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Alderman Miller?
Thank you, Mayor Jett. This is my ward, and I have had a lot of conversation since elected in 2019 about Cold Springs Park. I have had numerous opportunities to speak with residents that bound the park of what we can and cannot do, what we want and don't want out there, which in all that, we got to, let's figure it out and let's have a professional, which thank you all for allowing Hitchcock to present this. As Bill said, Director Hobson, not Bill, sorry, this is a proposal to get us over the hump of could we get some assistance in doing it? What you see is really a presentation of everyone's ideas to keep Cold Springs Park as natural as possible, yet encourage participation in the park. So when you see an outdoor theater or you see an outdoor classroom, there's some cool stuff in there that we can certainly have people that are already using the park use it even more. We met a couple weeks ago. We had an open house with Hitchcock, and I believe there were 19 or 20 residents in presence. Alderwoman Bassey and I were there. We engaged with many of the people that were there to make sure they were good. 2 presentations were offered. This is what we referred to as Plan B. Plan B seemed to pull together what everybody wanted. It attached to the Prairie Trail bike. It gave itself a loop that could be walkable for people who aren't going to put hiking boots on and walk. It gave some other alternatives to using that area, protecting the wetlands, and giving good access. So all the feedback that I've had, all of the comments that I've had have been truly in support of keeping it as natural as we can, but let's get more use out of a park, which today is very difficult to use. It is a gem, and I think Hitchcock did a nice job in presenting really the essence of what our community wanted. So I'm in full support of what I see. And I will be, obviously I made the motion and I will be voting yes to support moving forward.
Yeah. You know, when I first ran back in 97 and a few years after that, this was part of my ward until we redistricted. And I recall the park at that time, the beautiful look it had at that time before all the invasive species got in there and the trees, scrub trees and bushes, buckthorn. I mean, I walked it just this afternoon and I was just amazed at the difference that 25 years could make. One of my concerns is the fact that we're going to spend, if we get the grant money, well over $1 million, well over $1 million for this project. And yeah, maybe it'll look beautiful and maybe it won't to everybody. I guess one of my concerns is nobody's talking about what kind of a maintenance we're going to have on this park and what it's going to cost us yearly to maintain everything that you're talking about. I don't want it to wind up like some of our other parks have been, or even this park. This park has been neglected since those years. I mean, you take a look, you got trees that have fallen that nobody's ever taken care of. The buckthorn is right up to the edge of the little paths that are out there. The paths are at least walkable. I got to admit that. But that's one of my concerns is how well are we going to be able to maintain what we create and spend right now? And what is that going to cost us? is there any analysis of that, of what it's going to cost us yearly to maintain this, and how are we going to do it? And I take a look at all these other amenities that we're adding in, and I'm saying to myself, maybe we don't need to do everything all at once. Maybe we do it in phases. Let's clean up the park. Let's get the trails looking good. $115,000 to build a deck so that somebody can look at a telescope at birds. They can come on my back deck and look at birds. I mean, I get all kinds of birds over there. You could ask my son-in-law. I mean, he's big on birds, and he's got all these bird calls on his phone, and he tracks all kinds of birds into our backyard. Like I said, I mean, you got a park here that has been ignored for all these years, probably rightfully, that the neighborhood would like to see it cleaned up and everything else. But to what extent do we want to, just jump into it and recreate everything and recreate the park completely? Or should we do it again in phases and see where we go from there? I think would be a wiser, smarter move. Access, we show a future access all the way up on the northwest corner. When? That's a big question. When? Because there really isn't any good way without impacting the subdivisions, whether it be off of Ponca or you have to come into DePaul Court to access this. Prairie Trail, I'm not too keen on the fact that we're connecting to that either. I mean, I don't know if you were with us at that time, Bill, or not, but when Patriot Estates was built, they had talked about a walking path behind the homes over there. They didn't want that. They wanted to have a little bit of seclusion of, you take in, you attach it to the Prairie Trail and promote out of towners coming in and out. You don't know what, how are we going to monitor that? Not that we're not welcoming out of towners, but I tend to wonder, as much as you bring in the good element, you can bring in the bad element as well through that Prairie Trail. And that concerns me. And if we can monitor it some way, then, I could alleviate that, but, that concern, but it's still a concern at this point. So, like I said, I just think to some extent we need to clean up the park. We need to get the trails etched out where we want them and then slowly create the rest of it in phases as we go. Thank you.
Alderman Benny.
I have a couple thoughts on this too, and surprisingly kind of contrary to Alderman Glab's. First of all, I love that it's connecting to the Prairie Trail. I think that's probably one of the greatest benefits, and one of the things that the residents in the community have been asking for is this interconnectivity between communities and other assets that are here. So the fact that, and I really, if I was a biker for a long time, and if I was on that Prairie Trail in Crystal Lake, the last thing I'm doing is turning into a tiny park. Like, you're usually bound for a destination. So I wouldn't be concerned at all about people coming into that area, but I think there's a huge advantage of people being able to access the trail. I also think the fact that there's some opportunity here for future connection to, I know Harms Farm was one of them, to the assisted living is amazing. And I would actually be interested to know if we have got some pricing to be able to do that right out the gate and create even more interconnectivity for some of those areas. I don't know if that's something that that we've looked into and it has to be future because of the cost, or if it's something we could look at doing all together. Because one of the things that I think happens in an area like this is if we do it in, I do appreciate the idea of doing it in segments. However, you have to maintain the entire area to do that. So you clear areas for paths and then you don't do something else. Now you've got to come in and do it all over again on an annual basis, trying to keep that prepared. So to me, that doesn't make as much sense, just because I think everything would end up getting out of control and it could cost us more money over time. But I was really most interested in, whether we've looked at the opportunity to do some of that connectivity now.
We have not at this point. I can say that I have had conversations with Teresa Harms and her interest in that path. I have not talked to somebody from the retirement home, but it's been something that has been extremely welcoming, especially on the Riverwalk. That connection, that freedom to be able, especially that portion of the path would be a paved portion. And so it certainly opens up some doors for residents to be able to just get out and walk and enjoy the nature. And so it's not something that we have had a conversation with them. And especially on their side, is there a path on their side that leads to our side? And so there would be some investment on them as well. But again, this is something that we certainly can research in terms of as we come to a final plan with this initial schematic plan, as we listen to comments from this side and see what else can we add or change, or do we need to change something else? It's really a guide, and this is really where we want to be because this is what we've heard from the residents. But looking at those things a little bit further as we get into the final design is certainly something that we can continue to explore.
And you did mention like the investment on behalf of some of these businesses. I mean, there might be opportunities for sponsorships or partnerships to make that go as well that we could look into, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's not only Harms Farm, right there, that L is an outdoor classroom, and it's something that we know the Environmental Sciences Division at the high school has utilized this park for some of their field trips and learning opportunities. And so that was something that we felt not only would score well, but it's a group that's using the park already, and an opportunity for them to have a little bit more formal, not totally formal. It's still going to be a natural setting. That's our intention with the park, as with the playground. It'll be a natural setting, but that element L was one I wanted to comment, that outdoor classroom.
Excellent. Thank you.
Alderman Miller?
I just wanted to follow up with Alderperson Bainey. I reached out, I don't ride a bike, but I reached out to some of my bike riding friends. And I said, if this connects to the Prairie Path, what's the likelihood of you making a turn in? They said we'd do it once, and then we'd want to get right back out on the Prairie Path. Because to your point, when we're on the path, we have a destination. We're doing either X amount of miles or X amount of time, and we're going from point A to point B. So it's going to be a nice diversion once or twice, and then we're not going back in there. So I thought that was very candid of them, and that was good feedback for me because it was a concern for the residents, to Alderman Glab's point. But they were like, yeah, no, we'll look at it once and we'll be on our way. So again, I think we're moving in the right direction.
I would add to that, especially because that was a concern that came up, that connection to the Prairie Path, but it is a key element, I think, of the plan. I think what we're likely to see probably is more of the residents that are using that, looping through, possibly even going, they'll go out, come out to the Prairie Trail, maybe go back to that Dartmoor or Lillian and circle around and use that as their path for some sort of smaller loop, if you wanted a shorter ride.
Any other, Alderman Glab, go ahead.
Yeah. Looking at the map here, you got Ponca Street, and then Ponca and the strip that goes to the right just before where you're showing the end for the entrance, future entrance or whatever. Right where the J is for the future sign.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
You take Ponca Street
Yes.
to where the J is,
Correct.
okay? There's a strip there.
Mm-hmm.
Who owns that?
I believe that we own that. It's still the right of way that we,
No. Are you sure? Are you assuming or are you sure? Isn't that the old Marietta Road?
It would be, and
Which was not dedicated road. Therefore, it didn't automatically go into the city. That we need to clear up before we go forward with this. That needs to be looked at, and we need to legally know that we own that property, because at this point, we gave up Marietta way back when they approved the
retirement home. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
The retirement community there.
Do you recall that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Marietta was only annexed into the city because of a quitclaim deed, but the city claimed that it wasn't right away at the time. So it's very unclear as far as the title of that property, who owns it. So we can't just assume that that's a city street, because the people that are on Ponca, they know what the deal was over there. And like I said, we just need to be sure that we've got clear title of that property before we just assume.
Absolutely. And Athena is not the Bible, the GIS for the county map, but it does show that we own that property and that right of way is still in ours. It would absolutely have to be verified. And in terms of the element that's shown there with the J, it's a park sign that is fluid and could move to one way or another. But it is something that will be researched with any final plan.
Again, when I first moved into my house, part of my lot was a vacated street. And yet the county still showed it on the map as being a roadway there, even though it was vacated. If you remember District 156 behind East, it was showing District, 15. So you just can't go by those maps all the time. That's why I say it needs to be investigated, and we need to be sure that what we've got there is actually ours. Otherwise, we could wind up with some litigation right in the middle of the whole project. And we just, again, we got to do all the steps properly and make sure that everything is the way it should be. And that's why I say, to just jump into this totally, I just think we need to do it step by step. So that's one of the first steps, though, is as far as legality of that strip, because that is an integral of what Alderwoman Baney said, as far as she'd like to see that access road go through there. Well, we need to know that we've got that access road.
I won't speak for her, but I think it's more about the path that connects so the residents could utilize the path and not an access road to their facility.
It was platted as a road. It was never really, it was a road from what I was told back in the 70s and 80s. And because of the fact that the kids were running their cars in and out of there from Ponca to Crystal Lake Road
I might have been one of those
pretty
kids at
much
one point. I
abandoned
can
it.
tell you that.
Used them.
Maybe one of those
You
kids.
were one of them, huh? Okay. You're starting to show your age here.
This gray hair shows my age. It's not
But anyway.
a comment.
We got to get, things like that need to get cleaned up for sure.
Any other comments, questions by council? And public comment, Jerry Condon?
Sorry. Thank you for allowing me to speak again. I think most of you know, but I had served on the city council for 16 years. I actually live in this development in Park Ridge Estates and was on the council when this area was developed. My blood pressure is really high because I'm really passionate about this. A little bit of history. I don't know if it was in your packet, so please bear with me. When Park Ridge Estates was being developed, part of the development included that park from the development, mainly because it wasn't buildable, wetlands. And so it was designated right off the beginning as a gift, if you will, from the developer as parkland. At that time, there was no intention of building it at that time. So the development eventually filled in. I had little children at the time, and they would ride their bikes. There was, I don't think it was ever city created, but they made paths back through there. I never let them go by themselves. They always had to go in groups. And then later on, I had been on the city council, and along with Director Hobson and some other people from the city, we did some walking through there with the intent of developing the park. And what I saw really concerned me because there were structures for people living in there, squatting. I told my kids then, you cannot go back there because I didn't know what they would encounter. It wasn't safe. At the time, the city was considering a disc golf course through there. There were a lot of concerns from the residents, twofold, if I recall correctly from what I was told. One is they didn't want anything in their backyards. Disruption of free open space, but they also knew when they bought there that it was supposed to be a park, or it was parkland. The second issue was that there was concerns about having it being developed into a Frisbee golf, that there would be litter and people of ill repute back there, which I thought was interesting because that was already happening. I was, as the alderwoman for that in Sue's spot, I endorsed the project, but got a lot of calls. I went to a resident's home to hear the concerns of my residents at the time and got their input and really took it to heart. And we tried to make some changes. And I'm going to share this publicly. It wasn't known publicly. I think the police chief may recall, but there was an email circulating in the subdivision with threats to my family and my home, that they were going to protest in front of my home with my children there because of that park. So do I feel passionate about this park? Hell yes, I do. Again, we were given this parkland. I say that, given, but it was part of the development. And that was a gift. Parkland is a gift. We can't take that for granted these days. We need to maintain open space. I love this concept of being able to have a walking path in it's not my backyard, but in my subdivision backyard, if you will. I think it's a shame that it has been over 25 years and it hasn't been utilized into something. Some of the concerns I heard tonight were about maintenance. Okay, let's face it, there's maintenance for everything we do. That would be a part of it. Yeah, sure, of course, there's going to be some maintenance. But you have to weigh that with the benefit. And there would be benefit from having a park being usable and safe. Because if it's something that's structured, hopefully any bad elements are going to be removed if we have ongoing people utilizing that park. I heard, the access to Prairie Trail Ponca. So yes, and I agree with Alderman Glab, certainly. I do remember the Marietta Ponca concern at that time when we were originally talking about it. I thought that had been resolved, but I can't remember either. So you're 100% right. We do need to make sure that that's all taken care of in a legal manner, and I'm sure staff will do that. But I also want to just point out that there are parking places on DePaul. So if people, even if we didn't have access, I know you, and I would love to have that access, but we got to remember that a lot of people drive to parks in our community to be able to use them. So there is some parking available on DePaul if, even if original development didn't include Ponca. And I can't stress enough how important it is that I feel like we need to utilize what we have available to us. We're not purchasing land here. We're making it usable. We're allowing it to be something where our children can safely go. And me too. I would love to walk through nature. Yes, the bike path is right behind us, but that's backyards. I'm talking about actually being out in the middle of nature. How great would that be? I think it would be great. Well, anyway, so I'm just going to leave you with this. I respect the fact that you're all there and I've been in your seat, and you have to do what's right for you and make wise decisions. You're going to hear a lot of people that are opposed to this. I may be the only one that supports it, but I'm going to tell you that there are people, they may not be here. I was out of town, actually out of state, when the original meeting, the development meeting was here, so I wasn't able to come. But there are people that do support this, and at least in Park Ridge Estates, even though they're not here. So thank you, and I'm sure you will make a good decision.
Roger Friend.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me. And thank you for doing something with this park. My name's Roger Friend, 4513 Ponca. I live right next door to the park. And I am thrilled that you all are considering upgrading the park so it's usable. Thank you. The one thing that I have, my 2 cents that I want to throw in is I've been told that we want to keep it in the state like Moraine Hills. And there are no playgrounds at Moraine Hills. I do not think that this is the place for that. But other than that, that's all I have to say, except thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Yeah, go ahead.
There are playgrounds in Moraine Hills, just so you know. I used to live alongside there, and there are a couple of playgrounds in Moraine Hills. So they also engage in that same type of mixed use in their park.
Thank you. Any other public comment at this time? Sure. You come up to the podium, please state your name and address for public record.
My name is Catherine Cohn. I live at 4590 Loyola Drive. And this is in my backyard. And I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but I feel like based on some of the comments that were made that I have to clear up how some of us feel who live in that area that's directly on the south side of the park. So I'm going to read some of the feedback that I shared just for everybody else who hasn't heard it. This was from my husband and myself. As homeowners in Park Ridge Estates, we have one goal in mind as it relates to the development of Cold Springs Park. To see the promise made to us in 1998 as we chose McHenry as the place where we would raise our family finally realized. That promise was that after our developer donated these 49 acres, that the city would step in to maintain this property as a nature park or nature trail, and that it would never be developed beyond that concept. There is a difference between maintenance and development. And for 25 plus years, until the disc golf concept became of interest, was that park ever maintained? The comments about the downed trees, the buckthorn, the overgrowth of invasive species, that's what we have watched happen, not what was supposed to happen. There's only really been any activity to maintain this park in recent years. Our children that could have used the park are now grown and will never be able to experience even the lightly maintained trail that exists there now. And my husband and I would like to enjoy it before we are too old to do so. So the idea of having it finally maintained is appealing. The idea of developing it or overdeveloping it is not something that we're excited about. The idea of a passive nature trail, a nice path that Sue originally mentioned when we had the meeting where the concept was approved, was her vision was nature trail with some signage that would point out the native species. So we would suggest a simple, regularly maintained nature trail as opposed to overdevelopment. And as a resident, we have concerns about safety. We use the bike trail. There's already a connection from our neighborhood to the bike trail. I've
walked the bike trail, I've biked the bike trail, I've had 3 encounters with homeless people. Now you're opening, with the being connected all over, you're opening that up to more safety concerns that will now be closer to my backyard. So I'm not exactly excited about that. And then I would say for 25 years that this park has not been maintained. What was the agreement between the developer and this council? Where were there ever funds to maintain it? How come it never was? And why does it now go from being something that should have always been maintained to now something that has to be developed? Everything doesn't have to be developed. It can be maintained. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Sir? Please state your name and address for public record.
My name is Ivor Johnson. I live at 317 DePaul Court, right by that little parking lot there that enters the park. Obviously, we've been talking about this park for a long time, and there's been some bad things come out of it, some good things come out of it. I think this is a good thing that has come out of it. One of the themes that I have heard from you folks over this 5 or 6 year period, whatever we're talking about now, was that you wanted to find better uses for the park than what exists right now. This, I think, was an effort to address that, to make this park more friendly to more people in the community and make it more usable in a safe, intelligent manner, and in a manner that was consistent with the intent of the donation, which was a nature park. But I want to point out, as I think many of you know, the geography of this park is quite distinct. The area that we're talking about in this northwest quadrant is a very different piece of land than is the wetland area in the let's call it the southerly 2/3 of the park, more or less. When I saw this plan, and part of this plan I think is on the table as a proposal to seek funding to do this project. What I saw there was, is this a slightly more intense use, given some playground equipment over, than simply walking, biking, and maybe not so much. I see this use as compatible with the intent of the original grant. That is to expose people to a natural area. This does very little to intensify the use that it's already available for. Adding some rock climbing, some playground equipment, natural playground equipment, a classroom, if I can use that term, for students to use, I think is totally consistent with the idea of making this natural space more available and more tangible to the residents of the community. So what I see here is, as with all such things, is it perfect? No. No plan human's going to come up with is ever perfect for all people. I see this as consistent with the original intent of the grant. I see it as beneficial to the community. I see it as providing a nice, enhanced playground, enhanced recreation area for the people on that northwest end by Ponca. So from my perspective, my comment is this, is that this is a reasonable use and perhaps an advantageous opportunity to find funding to improve this park and make it much more usable for all members of the community that remains consistent. The future has a lot of work to do, as we all know, but this seems to me to be a very reasonable proposal to try to jumpstart the effort. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any others for public comment? Okay. All right, moving on. Any council members have any questions, comments? Alderman, go ahead.
From the one lady spoke about agreements and everything else, do we have a copy of the annexation agreement pulled and looked at as far as, I think that was probably from about, 1988 or 89? and it'd be interesting what was the agreements at that time, if there was anything documented in the annexation agreement. I'd like to actually see those documents. I think it's good for the council to be able to review all that. To say that, well, that was years and years ago, I mean, it's just like, what was it? The developer put $80,000 on a side for a traffic light. At that time, they were 120,000, 140,000. And by the time we put that in, what was the cost? About $1 million something, So, but if the city, and I don't care if it was 7, 8, 10 councils ago, made a promise to these residents, I think it's the duty of all our council members in the future to take and to uphold whatever the promises were. But again, unless it was in black and white and actually stated in the annexation agreement, I think it needs to be looked at so that we can rest assured of the fact that we're doing the right thing. Now, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't apply for the OSLEC grant, although I'm not crazy about spending $600,000 all at once. But I believe that's what we would have to spend in order to get the $600,000, right? So, and again, how much of a change can we make once we get the grant money, if we get the grant money? So, but I think more so than anything else, this has still got to come back to council as far as a lot of agreements and whatnot. And I think to some extent, I would like to see the annexation agreement given to us all, so that we know exactly what it was stated. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Miller.
Yes.
Alderman Bainey.
Yes.
Sorry, Alderwoman Bainey. Alderman Glad.
Yes.
Alderman Doherty.
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey.
No.
Alderman Davis.
Yes.
Alderman Cook.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Thank you all for coming. And I know Ivor Johnson, we've had conversations about this property for a long time. So it's great to kind of see a plan like this come into fruition. Hopefully we get this grant and move forward. So, all right. Staff reports. Any other staff reports this evening? None. For my report, obviously this weekend is finally over. I just want to thank all of our volunteers, over 900 volunteers through this weekend. It's not an easy task to use volunteers. We had about 100 not show on Friday, and it just happens. People forget or whatever, no matter how much you can communicate with people. So you have to adjust, and the people that volunteered on Friday adjusted very well. The only thing that we have to work on is the parking situation as far as getting people out of the park. Getting people in and the parking and enough parking was not an issue at all. It's just getting people out. So what we will be doing next year is working on a better parking plan and not using volunteers. I will be working with the chief, and we'll be hiring an actual company to handle the parking situation. That way, if you're missing 2 volunteers, it's not going to cause an issue at 11 o'clock at night. Sometimes you have volunteers that aren't parking people for 3-4 hours because they're at the show. And then you get people that were volunteering that shouldn't be drinking, that might have a couple of drinks. And then they're like, oh, I'm going to stay for the whole show. And then I'm not going to volunteer at 11 o'clock at night. So we will be hiring someone, a company to help with that situation. Other than that, the entire event went great. We had roughly on average 9,600 people to 9,700 people every night. I think overall, people are very happy about the location change. I think we're going to tweak it a little bit with the line of sight and add a few more speakers in the back. Other than that, no lines anywhere. So thank you to the Chamber of Commerce that put all the beer shifts in place, and thank you to all the council members that did participate, specifically Alderman Davis, Alderman Miller, Alderman Bainey, and Alderman Doherty. You guys have, many of you are every day. Mr. Doherty over here did merchandise all weekend long. So, it was great, and Andy Davis did everything. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for participating. We will not know the funds and how we did for a while. It takes time. Honestly, I don't want to look at anything regarding this concert for a little bit. But our accounting firm is working on it, and let them do their thing. But thank you all, and even staff working through this, and the council members that supported it. And we look forward to next year. Speaking of next year, we did announce 2 artists, actually 3 artists, but 2 headliners that will be kicking off for 2026. We are doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we do have Kane Brown and Hardy, which are 2 major artists. And we've actually almost sold 50% of our pit tickets already, which is crazy. So we're finally getting artists that we can count on selling tickets and not really have to push too hard. So, but yeah, other than that, thank you all that attended, and we look forward to next year. And yeah, I need to get some sleep. So that's all I got.
Wayne, can I make a comment?
Benny.
I just want to say there was a couple things I noticed when I was out there all weekend long. Fortunately for me, I got to enjoy the weekend, and I worked all year to be able to enjoy the weekend. I worked at the Vixen booth for a little while, and there was all kinds of people just coming up and talking. 1 out of every 10 people that would stop and talk were from the area. People drove from all over the place, 4 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. It was so cool to see so many people come to our community from out of town to share in such an enjoyable, wonderful experience. The other thing that I noticed that I thought was just really, especially considering some of the conversations we've had on council, is first of all, the police were amazing. They were having so much fun. It did I had all my grandkids there, and they'd be like, look, they're singing. She's dancing. Like, they were there doing their job, but actually really connecting with the community as well, which I thought was so valuable. And the same with the fire department. Those guys were all out there. They were talking to families, talking to kids. It was just really a cool experience to see all of the stakeholders in our community in one place, really sharing in something really amazing. And Wayne, I'm really proud of you. This has just grown my dad has sponsored this event for years and never attended. He came this year and he's like, you're kidding me. This happens in McKenna. Like, he was just blown away actually seeing it. So just really amazing, really amazing.
Alderman Miller.
Yeah, I just want to echo that and thank you and your family for your vision, your commitment, the uncounted hours that you put into this event. We are so grateful to have you in our community. Thank you. And of course, to your point of, I was checking IDs, there were people from Ohio, there were people from Indiana, there were people from Tennessee. They came here for this. They weren't here and just caught this. They came here for this. And that's kind of cool. This is McHenry. Who expects that here? I know Luke Bryan's in town next week. That's, kind of interesting in itself, but thank you again on behalf of your community. It takes great commitment on your behalf to make things like that happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Davis.
Yeah, I also want to say that, so last year I volunteered a little bit, and this year my wife and I decided to just pretty much the whole week and all weekend and stuff. And all I have to say is, you don't know how much goes into this. I know the amount of time that we put in and Wayne put in probably 10 times that. So to see everything come together is actually really cool. And the amount of people that were out there, and everybody was, there weren't really any issues. I've had so many people come up to me during, the concerts and stuff and mentioned, hey, this doesn't even look, we don't even realize we're in McHenry, when they're at this thing. There was a lot of positive of the new layout. That was probably the most comment I got from, and I don't know, I'm going to say 30, 40 people have said that to me over the 3 days. Everybody I know had a good time. So I just want to say, thank you. I've already talked to you about it, but yeah, the amount of work that goes into this thing and the little things that you don't think about And to put this together at a scale that it is it's impressive. It really is. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so Alderman Glenn?
Yeah, I just want to mention the fact that there are many, many residents in the city that are very thankful and probably don't even realize the fact that the concert was going on due to the fact that you made the decision to turn it the other way. I mean, really, it was, yeah, you heard just barely could hear something going on, but it wasn't anywhere near as cumbersome as it was the last couple. And I know that you've put in a lot of time and effort on this, but I guess one of the big questions I've got is when are we going to be able to see, when are we going to be able to put in the effort to get Travis Mills Foundation to a city council meeting with presentation? I know you had talked that somehow whether you had to go down the main or you were going to bring them here or whatever, but somehow we were going to get them on the agenda. And again, I know you've been tied up quite a bit with this, but we really need to know when we can get that thing, hopefully by the end of the year, that they would be here.
So as I stated earlier, I'm waiting for a call back from him. I reached out to him. He was traveling, said he'll get back to me when he returns. And I have not heard from him since. And that was 3 weeks ago. I don't know where he's traveling to. I didn't ask. That's not mine. He said he'll call me. So I have not heard from him. And I said I will reach out this week and reach out again. But once again, the ball's in his court as well.
Okay, so you will be calling him again? Okay. Could you keep us updated on where we're at with that? Because I think it's something that a lot of residents in the community are wondering, where it's going and if it's coming or not. So
I mean, you got to also understand, the ball's in his court. I'm not going to be hounding him. Also, the way it went down, I think he got a little bit of cold feet. He had, no offense, but the Herald got a hold of it. And he will not contact the Herald because he thought he was going to the right cycle and the right processes in the city, which he was not. And I think that caused some problems. So I'm working through that. But once again, me calling him and hounding him is probably not the best move either. So I give him his time and let him contact me back. But I will certainly send a text to him saying, hey, just checking in. And that's fine. And that's about as far as I will go and not be hounding him. And that's that. Alderman Cook?
Had a couple of my constituents praise the city for not like last year with the noise. I mean, the excessive loud music. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, I like excessive loud music, but they said it was very well done. They could sit on their back porch and listen to the music because I did. I sat out there and I'm thinking, oh, okay, this is very nice. And you had told me last year that you're going to point them away. So I was there Saturday morning and Sunday morning just to see how everything was all arranged. You got it down. I think so.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments, questions? Alderman Miller?
I just had a couple people ask me where they could camp.
Oh, the chief would not like that.
The chief probably doesn't want me to know
I
that.
mentioned it a few times, like, man, just like 10 VIP campgrounds. would be
Yeah,
amazing.
I told him the Kmart parking lot, but that probably didn't go over real well.
That would be a Ross.
Yeah. Yeah. I do not want a 24-hour thing there. I'm already there for 18 or 19. Don't need 24, but yeah, no. Alderman Davis.
One more thing I wanted to mention is, it was Sunday. There was a girl that came, her and her boyfriend came from Ohio, and they were there. What time did they get there? 10 a.m.?
9 a.m.
9 a.m.?
Yeah.
They were there. She was excited to be the first one there, and people started lining up like multiple hours before. By noon, I think we had 5 or 6 people at least lined up for all the way down. So there was a lot of excitement around it. I just forgot to mention that because I thought that was just super cool. And everybody that was volunteering would go up to them and give them waters, make sure they're comfortable. So it wasn't like everybody was ignoring them and stuff like that. So everybody was, it was a very positive experience.
And actually, I got them in before actual Bailey Zimmerman's team allowed people to access the park. So we got them in, let them pick the position where they wanted to be in the pit, got them some water. I bought them a few beers. But once again, it was a cool thing and got it on video. I haven't posted it yet because I haven't had a chance, but I think it's really cool to see that. We had Drew Walker there on Sunday from the radio station, and he asked people to raise their hands of 25 miles, 50 miles, 75, 100 miles. It's amazing how many hands were up at 100. And I think that's really cool. And when I got up there to thank those that are visiting our small community, it definitely is a lot of work up to it. But when you're on that stage and you're looking out at a lot of people, and I don't like speaking anyway, but 10,000 people, it's definitely, it hits you and it's like, this is why I do it. And this is why we do it. And this is why 900 volunteers love doing this. So, yeah, I think that the 10 that help me every single day probably are sleeping right now, I hope. But it's definitely, I'm excited for next year, and we'll see what we do from there. But I think next year will be a good year to really get it dialed in perfectly and completely sold out shows again. So thank you all. Thank you. City council comments? Alderman Miller?
The only thing I'll add is for those of you watching online, we will have the first annual McHenry Riverwalk Chalk Fest this coming Sunday from 9 to 4-ish out at Miller Point. We have, I think, at least 15 artists currently signed up. Bob, how many? 16. We have 16 artists currently signed up. They will be out there from 9 o'clock on, and their judging will be at 4 p.m. So food trucks, face painting, other activities, music. If you have nothing else on your agenda, please come down to Miller Point on Sunday, September 21 from 9 a.m. on.
And you don't have to be an artist because they're going to have all those sections for the kids to be able to be their own artists and not be judged. So everybody's welcome to come out and draw.
And Director Hobson has approved the chalk, so it will wash off.
Before light the night.
Oh, yes. Awesome. Any other comments by council? All right. At this time, we are going to go into executive session. I would ask the public to please exit the chambers, and then we will go into executive session for setting of a price for sale or lease of property owned by the public body, 5 ILCS 120-2C6. And we will not have any action afterwards. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hopefully not long.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Okay. Alderman Glad for a motion. Second. Alderman Doherty for a second. Please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
All right. Roll call.